Welcome back to Roadies on the Road. And what do we have here? That's right, we're about to build something else. It's one of these from Harbor Freight, a very affordable greenhouse, and from what I've seen on a couple of videos, this thing's supposed to last up to 10 years. Going through the manual, it's pretty hard to follow, and thanks to a couple other videos I've watched, I was able to make sense of it all and decided maybe I can cut those two videos and make it just a little bit easier for you all. So let's get into this. Now up front, it doesn't tell you right on the box, but you do have to build a foundation for this greenhouse. I'm going to build a very simple one. They do give you some ideas using 4x4s, but I'll be using some 2x8 pressure treated. Keep in mind, with 2x8 pressure treated, the actual measurement is about about 1 3/4 thick on each one. So you need to keep that in mind when you're going to cut your side rails to create your foundation box. What I have here are 20-inch by 20-inch pavers that I'm going to put the wood foundation box on top. But what I need to do is make sure that I am going to cut the wood right. Measure twice, cut once. So in this measurement, I'm looking at right around 74.5 on the front and back pieces. These rails have a little bit of I want to call it a drip edge that kind of hangs over, and that's what I want it to do after my finished product, is having those drip edges actually wrap over the edges. So again, this is about 74.5. I'll give you the measurement of the length. So the length looks like it's coming out to be about 98 3/4. And so with the front and back pieces, I'm going to be taking off about 3.5 inches off those boards to give me the proper length of the long side, and we'll get this pressure treated wood cut up and put together, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, phase, I guess 2 I'll call it, is complete. I have the wooden foundation box completed and squared up on the pavers, and I'm getting ready to put this greenhouse totally together. So hopefully this will really help out a lot of people. We've kind of determined that the 2x8s just aren't going to give us the height I'm going to need, because I am 6'4", and so what I am going to build is about a 9-inch knee wall to go on top of the 2x8s, and that's also going to provide added bracing and anchor for the greenhouse. So this is kind of my setup for cutting the skins of the knee wall, and then I'll be setting up for cutting down the 2x4s, and we'll put this together. What I've got here is a little jig setup, because I can't cut straight freehand, so I have a straight edge going all the way down, and this is my last 9-inch skin that I have to cut. I have the knee wall frames anchored in with the lower frame. I also just set up the aluminum frame for the base of the greenhouse, and I've got kind of the layout of the wall system, and just to kind of logically figure out how things will go up easily. And my next step will be to put up attaching my number 1 corners to 16 in the back, 17 in the front, and 34 on the sides. And I'll connect all the corners. Once I have that done, then I'll go ahead and erect the framing for the walls. That should stabilize everything. Then I will anchor the aluminum frame to the wood frame using 1.25" decking screws to the knee wall frame, and I'll show you what that looks like. As I go, I'll show you little details that I found work for me that the other folks really didn't mention, like having to take number 13, which is the angle brackets for the roof and everything else, putting those in right away when you're connecting number 21 to the number 1 corners, and that's going to stabilize the back wall. Then I'll get the portion of the roof ridges up, and we'll go from there. A little further explanation what I was talking about. Right here is the area that I'm going after. You have your corners number 1 here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead, erect 1, 8, 9, 21, get that back wall secure, and then I'll go ahead and put up number 36s on the gutters, and connect them up to the front of 21 number 1, and try to get this all stabilized. What I'll probably do is kind of skip ahead and put in kind of this kind of the door frame, the front wall system. I'll go ahead and put that up in this phase. That way the whole frame is going to be sturdy. Then I'll go ahead and put the roof system up. Just a quick little detail on these number 1 corners. The top has 4 holes to attach the roof system, and the bottom has just 2 holes for the corners of the base frame. This is one of the little details I was talking about, and that is putting number 13, that brace, go ahead and incorporate it with the assembly of 1 and 21, because that'll help kind of stiffen up the back wall. Because yeah, as you can see, I'm getting a lot of wind here. On the center supports, they have a channel in here, and what I've done is I've already put a screw or a nut and bolt in the bottom here, and then what I'll do is I'll slide this one in, and this will be in connecting number 21. That way I just take and drop it into position, bring this up to number 21, lines right up, and in it goes. Everything is finger tight until you're kind of at the very last of the assembly. Just like that. Now, this kit does come with two of these little 10mm ratchets, but I would much rather use, 10mm wrenches, but I'd rather use a 10mm ratchet. I am now at a point where I can now anchor the aluminum frame to the wood frame, and I'm using these deck screws. They're 1.25 inches, and I'll be using a 3/16 drill to drill into the aluminum, and then I will screw them right to screw the aluminum channels right into the wood frame. When you're drilling into this aluminum, take your time, go slow. All you're trying to do is just penetrate the aluminum, then follow it with your deck screw right into the wood. Like it says, I'm using a 3/16 drill bit. It goes real quick with this soft aluminum, and that way you aren't drilling into the wood, which kind of messes up the threads taking any bite. Now, the diagram really isn't too detailed as far as how this 13 bracket works in association with number 23 and 25. So just want to explain it to you real quick. Alright, so number 23 is right here, and it bolts into the upper hole of 13, and then 25 here goes into the lower hole, so that area there is braced up, and of course it'll mirror it on the other side. At this point, before you put the side roof struts in, go ahead and get these number 47 plastic caps. After that, there's also plastic caps that go up on the ridge and at the end of the gutters. I almost forgot about those, so just keep that in mind. Okay, right now I'm working on number 36. Kind of a quick little detail. Right here, there's a little cutout, and number 36 comes on the inside of number 1, and then you'll take number 48 and stick it on the cap of the gutter. I guess what this does is keep a lot of debris from coming out, and you get water. So if you're into rainwater collection, it's a good thing to have. That's how that gutter cap is snapped on. Right now I'm working on number 5. It's one of the roof beams, and what you have here is you slide a bolt in that channel right there. And then it comes down here, and at the end, don't forget to put number 47. It is now time to put up the ridge beam number 35. And I had to break out the gorilla ladder to help me get it up there. Now, along with the 35, after I get that bolted up, we also have a couple of little caps that go on number 54 that go to the very ends. This is a detail shot of how the ridge beam is mounted underneath the crown beams. Again, it is underneath. If you try it the other way, it isn't going to fit. And the instructions say specifically, right about there, that the crown beams will be on the outside of 35. So now I'm at a point where I'm going to be starting all the other ribs around the perimeter. You'll notice when you're looking in your instructions, there are numbers there like number 10 with an asterisk and number 11 with an asterisk. And what that's trying to tell you is you need to slide a screw down in the slides and otherwise so you can connect, like number 22 has a point there, and then number 15 also has a point that it connects in the middle of the beams. So that's what I'm going to do next. It's pretty easy, and all you got to make sure is you got your cross braces are orientated in the right direction. So I'll go ahead and start putting those together, and I'll go through and take a few shots of what it looks like. Just wanted to show you all real quick on how the slots work. These screws slide right in, and then they'll attach to the frame. I'll try to give you a quick install on how this all works. I'm going to try to demonstrate one of the side number 10 beams and how it goes into the cross brace. And just finger tight. Let you kind of slide things around for you. Pop in the bottom one here. Yeah. Top one. Actually, slide the top one in, kind of hold it in place, slide it up in the hole. Here's the hole, it's in. All started, and that one's ready. We'll keep moving on with the rest. Now, another technique you can try is already have the nut and bolt already in the cross frame. In fact, it'd work on the top too. Once you have that in, you slide it just like so. And then you can easily slide in the top and bottoms. That works too. I kind of discovered a technique that works pretty well. And that is, I have the nut and bolt started at the bottom here, and the nut and bolt started here. Now I'm going to take and slide this beam all the way down. And I'm going to take and start the top, because the top kind of goes into a channel that you can't lift up into. So I'm going to give myself enough slop. There, I've got the bottom one in, I've got the center one in. Now I just got to line up the top, and the top one's in. So that technique works pretty slick. So that might save you some headaches. Okay, right now I'm working on the number 11, the roof rims, and what I've done was develop a technique where I took and got the bolt started right here. This goes into a channel, locks in like so. This is going to be one of the window support beams, so you need a additional nut and bolt. Take and slide it up. Into the channel. That'll be used later on. And I take a wrench, the little wrench that they provided, slide another one up in there, and just to be able to guide it into that channel, I use the little wrench just to help me prevent it from dropping all the way back down. Little finessing, and there you go. It's in. Take and put the nut on. Again, at this point, you want everything just finger tight until you have it all put on. So you'll have that additional one on one of your end ones, opposite side, or depending on however you want it. But on mine, I'm going to have it one in the back, one in the front, and you'll have them both in the middle, and then that will support your window assembly. This is just a quick shot of number 15 going across these. This is what the window or the vent will close on. Right now it's just loose, and you'll adjust it once you get the window assembly put up. And I guess that's the point I'm at right now, is assembling the window units and getting them up there and adjusting everything, and get to start peeling some plastic off of plastic and putting in some panels. Okay, we're about to take and set up for assembling the doors and the door and the windows. I already have them kind of set up in there, how I'm going to make sure I have all the parts and then do the assembly. What I have to do is put on number 14. 14 will slide in 2 nuts and bolts in here. It'll slide in, and then there'll be number 19, which is a support along this, so the slider will be complete. Then we'll start into the door assembly. When sliding 14 onto 12, you have to make sure that the orientation is correct, because the wheels slide on this guide here, kind of has a rain guard here, and there's actually a lip that folds over this other another lip here that overlaps, so you have to slide it on to the rail. So go ahead and you're going to put your nuts and bolts loosely on here so the whole thing will slide on. It should look about like that. You can go ahead and tighten everything down at this point. Maybe keep it loose, so when you get the door assembly on, then you'll make sure it slides, and then tighten everything down. What I'm going to attempt to do is totally different from how the book wants to do it, but to me, logically, what I'm going to do is build out the door frame right onto the shelter, or the greenhouse, instead of doing the frame on the ground and then picking it up and trying to guide it onto the guides. I figured this way I can do all the adjusting I need to do while assembling it. That way I don't have to mess with it twice, and it should glide much easier than trying to put it all together on the ground and then get it to slide on the tracks. We'll just kind of see how this goes, and I'll get back to you to let you know if it was a good idea or a bad idea. I made a little mistake when I first started assembling this. I actually had this piece flipped upside down. You want the curved and this groove here kind of facing the rounded is facing out, and your groove is in. And then when you have it set up here, it's going to be behind the the roller plate. Here's your roller plate with the rollers on it. It goes behind that. Got 2 nuts and bolts there. Again, the rounded corners all face forward. Your panels are going to kind of slide in this slot here, and then it's going to get locked in by clips along the side. So what do I think? It was a good idea as far as not having to try to jostle a whole frame into the area. So yeah, kind of assemble it onto the actual greenhouse frame. I think you'll find it a lot easier to maneuver and adjust. That way you're not having to mess with it twice. I highly recommend using a manual screwdriver when putting in these screws on the side. Don't use power screwdrivers. This is some really soft aluminum, and if you're not careful, you could strip them out real quick. So I would highly recommend using a manual screwdriver. Last but not least, put on the plastic number 49 at the ends of your door slide, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I've got one window assembled. What you'll do is you'll go ahead and get these 2 in, and then you'll connect the 2 sides together with the top rail, and then you'll go ahead and put the nut and bolt into the side rail holes at the bottom. The bottom rail actually has slits in it that will slide in when you slide the panel in. What I found I had to do was one of the little handy dandy wrenches that they gave you, I put a bend in it so I can get up inside to prevent the head of that bolt from spinning. Then I can tighten it down really well. Alright, I've begun to slide the window into place. Start in the front, slide it into that channel, and go ahead and put it in the place that it needs to be. A little detail I wanted to show on these the window framing. It's like it says, you're going to get the side, the top, and the side, and you're going to leave the bottom open, but you're going to have a nut and bolt started in here because the bottom has a slit in it to slide up inside. But something I forgot to show you was the side goes underneath the top, and you have to actually slide the top into it. Then the holes will line up, and then you'll put your nut and bolts on and tighten it up. The window assemblies are in with the prop mechanisms. So I guess the last thing we gotta do is fill up all these holes with this corrugated plastic. I always like the last page. It means I'm just about done with this project. This is the layout of how all the panels and the positions that they will be put in. They also have the different locations of where the recommended clip locations should be. And of course you can modify this. What I may do in the future is get some of that plastic pipe strapping and just run it along the whole seam. That way I can completely fasten it into the area. And I'm going to start in the back corner for the back roof panels. This one here will be the last one because I think I need to gain access up here to get the clips up in the, since I had this so high right now. And we'll see how that goes. Little tedious part of this installation is they've got this little saran plastic protecting the plastic, and you gotta peel it off before you install it. And the difficulty is trying to find the corner of it. So that in itself takes a little bit of time. So if anything, what you're going to learn here is patience. On the roof panels, there is a groove right here that you want to make sure that you get the panel up underneath of it. That way when the rain comes down, it hits here and then just flows down, goes into the gutter, and then you've got rain collection if you want to go that route. Wanted to give a quick tutorial about these W clips. They sort of look like W. What I've kind of come into is you got this V section here, and that's going to point to the inside or the center of your panel. If you start with one end, lock it in place, make sure that this is all the way touching the side, and then just bring it on down. You're going to have to use a little force, and she will lock in like so. Hope that helps you. Now, I would highly suggest putting the door panels in last. This way you can gain access to the back panel here. So you can get these in, and then you put the panels for the door on. What I just discovered is panel number 7A isn't as flexible as I thought it was. So what I ended up having to do was loosen up the top number 26. These are the 4 screws that you have on the side. Just lift it up a little bit, slide it into the groove, and tighten it right back up. And that'll be your center panel of the door. And then the 9As, the bottom and the top, they are flexible enough to be able to maneuver it into the grooves. So again, either while putting the door together, go ahead, put in panel number 7A. You get to a point where the fingers just hurt and it's time to resort to the needle nose pliers. So there we go. Well, I've taken it to the limit. Got some little steps up. Step in. hope this video helps many of you to figure out how to put together a Harbor Freight 6x8 greenhouse. Thank you for watching. Leave any comments. See you on the next one. Almost forgot. I wanted to give a shout out to Daddy Curb's Farm, Bearded Fisherman, Gardening with Creation by DX and Company. Thanks for your videos. They really helped me put this together, and I thought there were some little details that I wanted to add on to it to help anybody else out there. So again, thanks to you, and really appreciate all you watching, and hope it all helps. Yeah, and it can be done. Would I do it again? Yeah, knowing what I know now, yeah, I'd do it again. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.